America is one of 11 developed countries. One would think that with all the money and advantages America has, it would be leading in areas like healthcare, but the sad truth is that the United States has one of the worst healthcare systems of developed countries despite its spending the most. One of the groups that are most affected are pregnant African American women. According to the CDC, Black women are 3.3 times more likely than white women to die from pregnancy-related complications, regardless of education and socioeconomic status. African American mothers are also 2 times as likely to have an infant that dies before their first birthday. This is largely due to the systematic racism that is still prevalent in today's society. There are external racial factors that contribute to the racism in healthcare. For instance, concentration of people of color in communities that don't have efficient and quality health providers or services, harsh environmental factors in predominantly African American neighborhoods, budget cuts and decreased support for federal programs that serve a high percentage of the African American community, and inequality in the workplace, to name a few. All of these can be seen as stressors that are exclusive to African American women, which is dangerous during pregnancy. Other racial factors that come into play have to do with medical residents. A study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences shows that there are doctors and residents today that still believe in myths like Black people have thicker skin or Black people feel less pain. These biases lead physicians to prescribe a larger percentage of white patients with painkillers than Black patients. These unconscious stereotypes impact pregnant women because when they tell their doctor something is wrong, the doctor does not take it seriously or the doctor does not believe them at all. All of this goes back to slavery, where women had to be essentially genderless. Angela Davis depicted this in her book Woman, Race, and Class. Black women have had to do the same work as men even while pregnant, and even when they were pregnant, they were seen as an animal fit for breeding future slaves, not as a human. The idea that Black women can handle more or that they feel less pain is an implicit bias still used today. This is ironic because Black women are more at risk for certain pregnancy and birth complications than their white counterparts. Hypertension or high blood pressure happens 1.5 times more in African American women than white women. Preeclampsia, which is a dangerous condition that involves high blood pressure in addition to damage to other organ systems, most times the liver or the kidney, are 3 times more likely to cause death in African American women due to its complications than white women. Postpartum hemorrhage is a dangerous complication where a woman ends up losing high amounts of blood after giving birth. One famous case of a Black woman dying from pregnancy complications is Kira Johnson. Here's a clip of her husband describing what happened.
He says doctors told them now 3-year-old Langston's birth would be a routine cesarean section.
I just held her by her hands. I said, please, look, my wife isn't doing well. And this woman looked me directly in my eyes and she said, sir, your wife just isn't a priority right now. It wasn't until 12:30 a.m. the next morning that they finally made the decision to take Kira back to surgery.
As critical minutes turned into hours, Johnson says he was continually ignored by staff at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles as Kira's health continued to suffer.
When they took Kira back to surgery and he opened her up, there were 3.5 liters of blood in her abdomen from where she had been allowed to bleed internally for almost 10 hours. And her heart stopped immediately.
Even famous Black celebrities have had to undergo the same types of ignorance and discrimination. Serena Williams felt a shortness of breath after giving birth. Having a long medical history of blood clots, she told the nurse that she thought she was having a pulmonary embolism. She continued to voice her concerns, and when the medical team finally checked on her, they discovered she was right. She had small blood clots in her lungs. Beyoncé even had pregnancy complications with preeclampsia, which put her on bed rest for over a month. There are ways to fix this large disparity between Black and white pregnant women. The government should improve access to critical healthcare services, and they should prioritize underserved populations, including women and infants of color and low-income communities. They should also strengthen the existing healthcare programs like Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, and CHIP because they provide aid to many African American women and their families. Research has shown that Medicaid expansion saves lives, and a study from the American Journal of Public Health found that Medicaid expansion states saw infant mortality rates decline, with the greatest decline being among African American infants. They should also screen women for at-risk preterm births. In Florida, where they implemented this change, they have seen a decline in infant mortality rate. They can also offer African American women tools to navigate health settings, which can educate African American women in order to allow them to make decisions that suit them the best that could end up saving their lives. This disparity has been going on for years, and most of these deaths are preventable. Hopefully, in the future, the United States will have a healthcare system where the people can actually be equal and women won't have to die based on their gender or race. Thank you for watching.